Welcome to Pivot Parenting, where we help parents of teens overcome regret and disappointment to find peace and connection in every situation. I'm Heather Frazier, your parenting expert. Journey with me to discover effective parenting tips, improve family relationships, and build a brighter future for your kids. Buckle up, things are about to get better. Much like seeing back to school supplies at the end of June or beginning of July, I was just at the supermarket and there was Halloween candy out. It is still August, but already people are looking to the next thing. And part of me is annoyed by this because I don't want summer to end, but we're already back in school, so it's kind of inevitable. And fall is lovely. But moving to the next thing is sometimes hard to wrap your head around. However, in light of this, I have the perfect Christmas gift that you need to order now so that it just is done and taken care of. And of course, it's a book about Jesus. I also look around, maybe not at the grocery store unless I'm looking at the newsstands. It is shocking the state of the world right now and the amount of hatred, the amount of fear, the amount of times that the name of Christ is used in blasphemy to forward someone's agenda for political and personal power. This is not the Christ that I know, and to me, this is the worst way to break the commandment of thou shalt not take the Lord thy God's name in vain, is to say Christ says this or God wants you to do this, when really they're using that as a weapon to further their agenda and desire to usurp power and control. And I see that a lot right now. Unironically, I think that this is exactly the time that God wanted my book, Mom Got Jesus Wrong, Hallelujah, to hit the shelves. Because I had been having inclinations that I needed to write this for a few years. I wrote it in 2023. And then because the fantastic art in it was done by J. Kirk Richards, and he took some time and I took some time on edits, it is only now coming to full completion for you. And I really do think that that is divine timing. If you are sick and tired of going to church or hearing about church or God, and it doesn't sit well with you, that if things feel antiquated, harmful, misogynistic, racist, this book is for you. And if you have a friend, a sister, a loved one, your child, a teen or tween, young adult, who doesn't want anything to do with Jesus, I literally wrote this book. My first desire in writing this book was because I knew that I couldn't keep it in. God kept giving me ideas and words and frameworks for this book, and so I knew I had to do it. But ultimately, I wanted to do this for my own children, so that maybe someday when I am dead and they miss me, they might pick it up and see Christ in a way that I could not convey in their younger years, or that they didn't want to see or hear in their younger years, and that they could find peace and love in Christ. I wrote this for my kids. I wrote it for your kids. Mom Got Jesus Wrong, Hallelujah is not a book that you would find in the more pious religious bookstores. It is raw, it is real, it is relatable. If you want to check out more details on this, go to heatherfrazier.com. And I have 6 amazing book bonuses, like a playlist, a book club guide, a private Facebook group so that you can share what's going on in Sunday school in a safe space. 6 bonuses for people who pre-order. The bonuses go away in November. So pre-order your book. Get the bonuses. You definitely will want to have a book club, even if you don't already have a book club, to discuss all the juicy things that I drop in this book. And the most beautiful part is it's not boring. It's written like a journal, and she spills tea. You got to hear this book. If you want the audio version, I'm recording the audio right now. I will read it to you. Pre-order whatever version works for you. Get your bonuses. I'm so excited for you to be introduced to the Jesus that I know and love. And Aubin and I are going to talk a little bit about that today. I've known Aubin for years in the coaching world. She's been on this podcast way back in the beginnings. She is a powerful woman and mother, and I know that you're going to love our conversation. So here we go. Hey, Aubin, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here. It's going to be a fantastic episode. And for old time listeners, you've been on before.
Yes, like long time
A
ago.
long time ago, back in the
Ah,
beginnings. It's been a while.
yeah, and you were on mine back in the day too. It's been fun.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a fantastic discussion for you, my listening friend. But first, for those of the listeners who don't know Aubin, will you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Hi, I'm Aubin Palmer. I am a life and business coach for women. I love helping women find their own power to create what they want. And I have just seen so many cool experiences of finding my own power, helping other women find it, and that's how we can create what we want. And so I have been working in doing one-on-one coaching. I have a group program. I do retreats. I just love to do everything possible to help women feel their power, including I wrote a book this last year called Power Women. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today. So I won't share too much.
I'm so excited. Okay. For people who really like coach lingo, they get what you're saying. But people, some listeners maybe like find their power.
Yeah,
Like, can you expound on what that looks like in
exactly.
real
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, so a lot of times when we say power, we think of like, are we able to make decisions for ourselves? Are we in a good energy? And sometimes we think our power comes from things outside of us. So, how much money we have, are we married, how old our kids are, and that's all circumstantial power. It's just the facts around us. But learning to be in our own power is learning to really own and be conscious of our own thoughts, our own emotions, our own energy, our own actions. And when we choose to be in power with those things, regardless of what's going on outside of us, that's when we are in power to create things. Because a lot of times people think, oh, this thing in my life is really hard. I can't do anything about it. And that's not true. You always have the ability to choose your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions, regardless of what's going on. And so that's really what comes down to being in your power, and learning how to do that and then get good at it is a journey. And so it's what I love to help with.
Okay, and what does that look like in real time? Let's say there's a woman who feels very trapped by her
Yeah.
circumstances and powerless. What kind
Yes,
of
that's a great
transformation?
question. It's I think it's really good to always remember that the power is always within you. So when people feel powerless, I like to ask them and help them see like what is in your power, like what is in your control. And we often, when we feel powerless, are thinking about the things that are out of our control. So what other people are doing, what other people feel, what is happening in the world, right? That is not in our power. It never has, never will be. But when we then come in closer of like, do you have to think about this that way? Is that serving you to believe this about your daughter? Is this serving you to think that you can't do anything about this? Is it true that you're a bad mom? Like, this is a funny that like once
Yeah,
I get a lot is like, I'm a bad mom. Is
I
that
hear
really
that one a lot
true?
too.
Yeah. Yeah. And so looking at that and seeing that down at like the level of conscious and very often subconscious thoughts is where we can reveal your true power and come back to it.
Yeah, I like that. Just as you were talking, I have heard like, oh, I'm such a bad mom. And usually the feeling that comes with that is a hopelessness. And hope is definitely a huge power and something that
Yeah,
we can create within us.
exactly.
So, was there anything specific? I too am launching a book.
Oh yeah.
October, what's your pub date?
It already came out in July, so
Oh,
July
July.
15th.
Okay. So
So
it's
I'm
available
holding
for
it
people to
here. I
buy.
have copies all over my office behind me.
Okay. I mean,
But
yes, I see that. Okay.
so my book was a little different than just normal writing a book because I don't remember if you remember Chicken Soup for the Soul back in the 90s.
Yes.
Everyone would contribute stories and they wrote like their first copy and then they started making like special editions on a certain subject. And I had this idea to write this book, but to gather stories from lots of women of different experiences of remembering and finding their power in a hard circumstance. So things like, okay, this is happening to me. I feel helpless. I feel hopeless. But how can I show up in my power regardless of what's going on? And so I opened it up to lots of subjects and asked so many women. And my goal is to get at least 50, and we got 54 stories from different women, stories and poems. And then I contributed my own as well. And so I was a big contributor to the book. So that's why my name's on it, but it is not just me as an author. And I wanted, because when you were asking, like, how do you know what your power is? When I read this book, I remember my power. And I don't even have to go that deep
Very
into like
cool.
coaching mode, asking all these questions of myself. When you just hear another woman standing up and saying, this is hard and I can do it anyways, you feel that power in you again too. And so that's what I really wanted to create. And I didn't say people had to write on a certain subject. I said anything in your life. But as we gathered the stories, me and my editor combined them to see kind of like what were the common themes. And motherhood was a really big one. I think it's
Yeah.
like the biggest section in the book. It ended up being motherhood, finding yourself, health, faith, and entrepreneurship. Yeah, what I do usually.
Okay.
And so those are the five sections. But motherhood is the first one and the biggest one. Women shared very powerful stories of when things were hard as a mom and how they found their power in that moment. I call it my pink Bible, and I just like let it fall open and I read that story for the day and just let it help me remember my own power. And it's so helpful.
Okay. That's cool. So instead of like chicken soup for the soul, it could be your protein shake for your
For
soul.
power. Yeah, the protein shake. It's like
Protein
got
shake for
power
the
in it.
soul.
It's got a little bit more oomph to it than just soup.
Yeah, gonna give you strength.
I love that. I'm going to start using that when I talk about
Yeah,
it. This is your protein shake for your soul.
that's right. That's awesome. That's similar to my journey in the sense that motherhood is definitely one of the most difficult, wounding, beautiful, expansive experiences that I have ever had.
Yes, I
Yeah.
I agree. And it's not something that you can be like, oh, never mind, I don't like this, it's too hard. It's
No,
like,
there's
oh, I
not a lot
signed
of
up
take
for this.
backs.
Yeah, I signed up for this and I've got to figure it out. And so learning to find your power as a mother is crucial. It's not,
Yeah.
I mean, women, you hear stories of women give up and it just is so heartbreaking. And if that's not an option to you, then this is the solution. This is how you can be okay even when you have hard circumstances, because there's stories in here of having children with severe disabilities and how to be the mom. There's stories of losing two children and them dying unexpectedly and how to still be a mom to her other children and show up. There's stories in here of having just kids that she didn't get along with and how to show up. Like, women have a special power as a maternal power because we are mothers and it's in our nature. It's in our natural way we function. And so, really tuning into that power, especially when we feel helpless or hopeless, and saying, I don't know what to do. This circumstance is too hard. Going inward instead of thinking things outside of you have to change to be okay is so beautiful to watch. And to see that it is possible helps you. That's what this book does, is like you see other women do it in their own way. The circumstances, the stories might be a little different, but it just burns that fire in you again of like, oh yeah, I'm not hopeless. I do have ways to change my perspective on this. I do have ways to be closer to God and one with God and how I figure this out. I do have desires and wants. I do have energy in me to figure this out. I do have resilience. I just did my acronym of power. And that is in all of us. And I teach this acronym in the introduction of the book. I really believe that this power is in every single one of us and that we don't have to create it, we just have to remember it. And that is the intention of this book, is to help you say, oh, yeah, I've done hard things
That
before. I've
is
seen this
familiar.
power
Yeah,
before. And it might have been a completely different situation, but that power is the same inside of me.
I love that. When you were compiling this, you mentioned a few motherly stories, and then before I hit record and we were catching up, you've got a tween.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like on the cusp of
Yes.
the teenage years. With that perspective of having a tween, knowing what's coming, what value do these stories give to parents of tweens and teens and young
Yes.
adults?
Yeah, it's going back to a lot of what we were talking about with what power is that, my sweet tween-year-old daughter, she was like the happiest, bubbliest little girl, and now she's got anxiety and she's got a lot of emotions that I am like, where is this coming from? This isn't the girl I knew before. And so I'm having to see her as a new person. But when we're in power, and these stories help give you that perspective of she is her own person, I am my own person. How am I showing up, regardless of how she shows up? So even if she yells at me and even if she has a meltdown, which is completely out of character before, I still get to show up in my power as the mom with grace and understanding and learning, but still saying that I understand that she's human. She's a girl. She's going through new changes in her body. And instead of thinking of it
Yeah.
as a problem, I get to focus on me, which often when we have problems with any relationship, we think of the other person. Like, what are they doing wrong? Why? Oh, she's got new anxiety. We need to get her a medication or a therapist. And it's like, and we might still do that. But instead of just focusing on the problem, is also viewing how I'm thinking about it. Like, why does this have to be a problem? She's a tween. That's normal. And so accepting that and working with her in that instead of viewing it as like she's the problem, it's all over there. It's owning. I think ownership is a big part of power of saying, like, how am I showing up? What am I thinking? Am I in the energy of love? I always want to check that as the mom because when I don't act out of love, it's usually not true to me, my aligned self, my true character, who I want to be. And so that's in my power. No matter what she does to me, no matter what she says to me, no matter how she's acting, I can be in the energy of love. And I love this with relationships, especially because when I show up in love and she's having a hard time, it usually makes it easier for her to calm down. But I'm not dependent on it. She can calm down if she wants, she could not, but I get to choose love regardless. And that gives me that power to be the mom I want to be, even if she's having a hard day.
Which does feel more powerful and less hopeless because
Yes.
just like you were saying, the circumstance of your daughter's struggles, we can have some impact, but we can't fix it.
Yeah.
Those are things that they have to learn. Has the book been able to come back to you yet? I know it's new in
Yeah.
ways that you are seeing the impact that it's having on that generational mother to daughter level.
Yeah, that's a great question. I haven't seen it profoundly yet, no. But for full disclosure, my daughter wrote a story in the book. And so for a
Oh,
generational question, like I invited her because I think being power women is multi-generational. And
yeah,
so I invited her and I said, why wouldn't I invite her? She's 10 years old. She's like almost a teenager. She's not woman yet, but to me, she is. And seeing her in that power at 10 years old actually empowers me. So I guess I'll see it the most with myself, is what I'm saying, is how I've seen it for me, of like including her in the book. And it was so fun because I didn't edit it. She wrote it to me in a text message. It was short, sweet, powerful. And I just put it in the book the way it was. And when she reads it, it's so fun because like the same circumstance came up after it was published as the story she wrote. And so I taught her what to do with her own story. So remember the story you put in my book? It's just like, oh yeah. Oh, okay. And so
that's
she felt
cool.
that power shift with her own story she put in. And it just reminded me that yes, she's got her power, I have my power. We're both in power of ourselves, and when we view it that way, I think it makes it so much easier as a mom because it's not like this. I'm the mom, they're the child underneath me. It's that we're both power women at different stages of life, but I can view her and love her for where she is and help her. That's what I love to say with motherhood is like I get to love them and guide them and they get to do what they want with their life. And it makes it so much easier for me to show up in my power and for her to learn and find hers as well.
Very cool. Is there a particular chapter or story that you think would most benefit mothers of teens?
Others. Yeah. So it's interesting you say that because it's like, well, there's a whole motherhood section. So of course that part, but I actually think the introduction that I wrote would probably be the most helpful for the mother of a teen because I teach that power acronym I kind of said of
Mm-hmm.
P.O.W.E.R. so they can really learn what their power is. And then I explain each facet of those. So perspective is P, O is oneness with God, W is wants or desires and learning what you really want in life. E is your energy, which is a lot of your thoughts and emotions. And then R is resilience. And I think if we want to be in power as the mother, especially as a teen, really understanding each of these components of the power helps you to show up how you want to and be in power, not hopeless, but able to say, I see you, daughter. I understand you have that emotion. I don't know why you feel it. I don't know why you're doing this. I wouldn't do that. And I still feel love for you, and everything's okay. And let's figure this out together. It's just a completely different perspective and world when we learn how to function from power or these five parts of power.
Yeah, I really like that. So hopefully everybody will get your book and
Yeah. So
read it
this
and
is
all
a
the
great thing
things.
too with it. I have priced it on Amazon. I publish through Amazon, which is an easy way to publish your first book if
Yeah.
anyone's wanting to publish a book. And I price it at 1111 because that's a power number. It's my favorite number. And 1111 means that things are coming to you, big changes are coming. And so I wanted to price it there so that people could feel that energy when they bought it. And then I'm using all the proceeds to donate copies to nonprofit organizations for women so that women, especially having a hard time seeing their power, can have a free copy of this book. So I meet personally with the runners of the organization. I say, don't give this free like
Mm.
candy, like give it to a woman that needs it and will read it. And so we are like, this book is just very
Very
living.
cool.
And I want it to be people like the kind that you read and then you just open up and read a story because you need a little motivation one day. It's the kind you read and then loan to your sister or give to your sister or give a copy to every woman you know. I've had people tell me they like brought it to book clubs that were looking for books to read and people vote for it because they love the idea of getting this power from other women and then giving it to the nonprofits. And so it's just it's a great way to just share this energy collectively as women and all feel the power together. And so it's the kind of book that you could give to your teenage daughter and read you because it's very easy reading. They're just simple stories, they're short, and you could read it together and discuss. Like I feel like it would be a very connective bonding experience if your daughter is open to it. Like of course it
Yeah.
depends on the daughter, but it it could be a very fun way to connect with your daughter reading this together and giving it to your adult daughter maybe and like that you haven't talked for a while but you can still just offer it. Like it's just a very giving book to just share with others and it's easy reading. And my friend that did the
Protein
book
drink
club
for the
thing,
soul.
yeah, exactly, your protein shake for the soul. And it the friend that shares me is like, my friends usually like to do audible books for our book club, but they could feel the energy of this book so they wanted to do it, so they picked it for their book club. And so that just made me so excited that she felt and was able to convey that energy of this book, that it's not okay, it's super dense. I need to listen to it while I'm doing dishes and I don't have time to sit down and read it. It's like, no, you could sit down and read it pretty quick. I mean, it is like 300 pages, but they're so short and easy reads. You could read it very quickly and it's not as
Very
much
cool.
about it being a ton of information, but it's just more the energy of feeling that power again and letting go of that hopeless feeling like you've said.
Very nice. Okay. So if a mom of a teen could walk away with one takeaway, what would you want it to be?
After reading this book, yeah, that I would want the mother of a teen to realize that her daughter doesn't have to do anything different, say anything different, be anything different for her to feel in power again as the mother. That she has the ability to feel like she is a good mother, even if her daughter's saying she's not, that she has the ability to do things for that daughter in an energy of love that she might not see direct results from, but she still has the power to do that regardless of how the daughter responds. That she can show up and figure things out and follow her intuition, her mother intuition, to say, this is what we're going to do. And my daughter might not respond well, she might not like it, but I know I have this power as the mother to do my best. And so these kind of things like might seem small and little, but they will change your experience of being a mother to a teen profoundly, because nothing has to change outside of you for you to take that power and move things forward the way you're wanting them to.
That sounds amazing. And I'm sure that a lot of people are like, yes, please. What would be the first step between now and when they get their book? What should they be working on? What's the first step?
Before they read the book, is that what you're saying? Before they even read the
Yeah,
book?
like something they can apply right now as they
Yeah.
listen. Like when their child walks home from school and it's like, "Meow."
Yeah. Yeah. That I think really separating and in relationships is sometimes the hardest, especially as a mother, is that you are not responsible for their emotions. And so your power is your emotions, and they can feel however they want, and it doesn't mean anything about you, and it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong or that you need to fix anything. Like just letting your children feel what they need to feel and that you're
So
still good.
cleaning up those lines.
Yeah. And just feeling that I feel like that's one of the most powerful shifts for relationships, and especially as a mother, of that your children can feel however they want, and so can you, and that doesn't impact. They do impact each other, but they're not directly correlated. Like you don't have
It
to feel
impacts less when you can have the autonomy for each.
exactly, and
Yeah.
that you don't have to feel sad because they're sad. You can feel sad for them, but you can still feel happy and love. And actually, when you
Yeah.
do feel that love and happiness, it will help them more than feeling like, oh, I feel bad about myself because they're sad, or I feel bad about myself because they're having a hard day. Like differentiating that, I think, is one of the most powerful shifts you can make as a mother. And I think from my at least experience with the tween, it can be the hardest at this age because the emotions are more intense. I thought toddlers were
Yeah.
intense emotions, but it's
No,
different. It's very different with
they're bigger, so it's
yeah.
bigger.
And they can articulate it more. Like
Yes.
babies
And
just cry.
oftentimes they will try to hand us their emotions.
Yes.
Like, you make me angry. You are the reason I am upset. You are
Yeah.
the reason things aren't working out. And that
Yeah.
can be really painful. And so it is important to separate out.
Right. And I think, I mean, it's a lot to just, I've learned the hard way to never try to like teach my kids or correct them when they're in that moment of saying that.
Yeah.
But at other times when it isn't in the heat of the moment, you can teach them the difference between autonomy of emotions. But the power comes like even when they say that to you, you don't take it on. And you
Hmm.
say, I'm sorry
I
you
do
feel
not
that
receive
way.
that.
Yeah, that's not true for me. And I know that you get to feel however you want. And it's so funny because sometimes people are afraid to do that because they think that means they're like calloused and don't care about their children. And it's actually the opposite of when you say that in the power of love, you actually are able to listen and take in like, well, maybe I did say those things a little harshly, or maybe what I did wasn't my best, but I'm not actually responsible for their feelings. But I can say sorry and say, you know what, you're right. I didn't mean to say things like that. I love you, and everything I do is because of love, and I will try not to say things like that again. It actually gives you more power to show up to help the situation when you're not taking on their emotions, because most people spiral down into shame and guilt when they're taking on the emotions, and we don't function to help anyone. We're in those emotions. And so
Yeah.
if you can let them feel what they feel, you feel love, and then you can listen to them and say, yeah, that's actually wasn't my best, but sometimes you really didn't do anything, and sometimes you are fine, and you
Yeah.
can just, it's okay that you're mad at me. I get it. From your perspective, I'm being mean. I said no to something you want, and I stand by that, and I'm sorry it upsets you, and you get to be as upset as you want to be, and I get to stay in just this energy of love and understanding that, yeah, I'm sorry this is hard for you, but I'm going to stick with my no and not feel bad about it.
Yeah. That was probably one of the most valuable lessons I learned with my oldest, too. I remember my son would always hand me things like, I don't feel like I'm part of the family. And I would scramble so hard to try and fix that for him. And I remember the day I said, I'm sorry. And also, I can't do that for you. Like, you
Yeah.
have to, eat dinner with us. That would help you. Think about us instead of just yourself. Like, I think about you all day. Or I had to use a slightly different tactic with my daughter, who loves to give the stink eye. He can kill with looks, literally kill.
I love it.
And I would internalize that so much. And then one day I just was like, oh, you're so cute, giving me the stink eye. You're
Yeah.
trying to melt me over here, but I still
Yeah,
love
I love
you.
that. And you can
Like,
separate it. And when you weren't taking on the stink eye, it
yeah,
was actually even humorous to you because you're like, oh, that's a good stink eye she's got. Look at that girl. Like it
I
gives you that
know.
advantage of like,
Oh, she's doubling down. She's doubling
oh, good job,
down.
girl. Like it's just,
I love you and no.
yeah, exactly. I love that.
Yeah, no. Okay, so where can listeners find your book?
Yes, it's on Amazon right now for 11.11. That's where I published it. I have put it on a couple of local stores of friends that are selling it for me. So one is Benrick Boutique, which is in American Fork, Utah, and we're doing a book launch party there soon on September 5th.
Mm,
Everyone is welcome. It's just an open invite party. It's from 7:30 to 9 on the 5th, September 5th at Benrick Boutique. So she's selling copies before, just so people know about it. And
very
then
fun.
another one is at the Center of the Universe coffee shop in Payson, Utah, which is where I had the idea to do this book. So I was like, oh, I
Oh,
need to have copies there. That's like a cool full circle moment to have it there. So she's selling them. That's it so far. But Amazon's an easy way because who doesn't have Amazon these days? And so it's just available 2 days. Shipment is just awesome. So you can get it very quickly there.
very cool. Thank you, Aubin.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Heather, and for being the power woman you are helping mothers with teenagers. It's so important. And I firmly believe that motherhood is a big part of being a power woman because they're the next generation of power women. So this is a special episode for all these moms listening to feel their power and to help their daughters learn and feel their power.
Heather is the one, an expert in the field. She knows her parenting stuff, including how confusing it can be. You've tried it all, and it's a lost cause. Crying in the closet cause you failed at being a mom. But think again, there's peace around the corner and there's hope in your hands. Your kid just wants your love and you want it from them. So take a picture